Welcome, Intensified Algebra. Today we will be talking about topic 12, creating linear models for data, and we are on lesson 6, modeling data with linear functions. Okay, so today we will talk about trend lines, lines of best fit, scatter plots, correlations, and R values. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and read this out for you guys. Here's the opener, lesson 6. It says Janelle and Danielle are working together on an experiment. They drop a tennis ball from various heights, then record both the drop height and the bounce height. After they graph their data, they add a trend line to the scatter plot. When they compare their graphs, they notice that the data points in both graphs are the same, but they have different trend lines. Here is part of the discussion. So Janelle, she says, why do our trend lines look so different? How did you make yours? And we can see there are different trend lines here. They're very different. Here's one trend line. Here's the other. Danielle says, well, I saw that there were 6 data points, so I made sure that there were 3 above the line and 3 below the line. That way, my trend line goes through the middle of the data. How did you make your trend line? Janelle states, I just looked at the graph and thought about a line that came as close as possible to all the points. I don't think a trend line has to have half the points above it and half below it. So let's take a look at their trend lines here. And which one of these lines here best accurately describes the plotted points here? Would you say Janelle's graph or would you say Danielle's graph? Think about that for a second. Okay, it says consider the graphs along the explanations each student gave for how they found their trend lines. Number 1, which student has found a trend line that more accurately represents the data? Explain why. Okay, so I'm looking at these two. And Danielle said she put 3 dots below the line and 3 dots above it. In my opinion, Janelle kind of did the same thing. Here's 1, 2, 3 lines below, and then 1, 2, 3 above. Okay. But I guess she's considering that these two are on the line. I think that Janelle's graph is more accurate. Okay, because it's closer. If you look at the difference between this point and the line, it's pretty close. This one's really close. This one's like right on it. This one's close, close, and pretty close. This one here is pretty far away. Okay, so is this one. So is this. The rest of these are all pretty good distance away. So I'm thinking Janelle's graph is more accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I think it's more accurate because the plotted points are collectively closer. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Do you agree with Danielle's statement that half of the data points have to be above the trend line and the other half below it? Explain why or why not. Okay, so I'm not agreeing with Danielle's statement here. Because I think Janelle's Janelle's trend line is much more accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. No, I do not agree with Danielle. I believe that Janelle's trend line is much more accurate. Okay, let's go ahead and move on down to our core activity, and that will be in our next video.